Welcome back to Yuan Consulting. If you have watched my recent video on why a freelance consulting career can present an interesting alternative to continuing an MBB consulting career, then you may remember this gentleman, a former MBB consultant who has been working very hard. When he however learned that a freelance consulting career can potentially be more profitable than his MBB consulting job and offer more personal flexibility, he got curious and eventually decided to move on and become a freelance consultant. Now let us ask him, how are you doing now, my friend? I'm a freelance consultant. But how do I get clients now? Getting clients as a freelance consultant is a common challenge. Now there are many ways to find new clients, but today I don't want to talk about hustling. Instead, I would like to introduce you to consulting freelance platforms or consulting marketplaces which help you get clients as a freelance consultant. In this video, I will first explain to you how consulting freelance platforms can change your business model as a freelance consultant, and will then provide you with an in-depth review of 3 leading consulting marketplaces. So stay tuned. And afterwards, because consulting often is about competition, I will announce a winner. If you haven't yet done so, I strongly recommend you to watch my recent video in which I compare the business models of working as an employed consultant with that of working as a freelance consultant. To recap the most important points in this context, consulting firm partners play a pivotal role in any consulting firm. Not only are they the most experienced experts, but they are also what I like to call them the chief salesmen. They are trained to acquire new clients and sell projects to them, while you as a more junior consultant typically are not. You probably will not even see any commercial proposal that contains information such as project pricing, and you make it at least a junior partner. Once you decide to go freelance, consulting firm partners are no more. You must know that consulting firm partners hold the connections to the senior clients, and once you go independent, you typically don't have access to such senior decision makers. And that actually poses a problem for both you and the client, because you want to sell your expertise as a freelance consultant, but now you have to make potential clients aware of your skills and your profile. But also for the clients it's painful, because if you want to work with freelance consultants, they all of a sudden have to deal with an army of single entrepreneurs and try to find a match, deal with contractual negotiations and so on. And instead, it's so much easier for them to just pick up the phone, call up McKinsey or the like, and get a readily configured consultant team sent to their doorstep. This is exactly where consulting marketplaces have come to disrupt the consulting markets. They've noticed these pain points and play the role of a matchmaker between freelance consultants and clients. They manage databases that list available freelance consultants, and so for the clients it's again much easier, because if they want to make a project order, they again have now a single touch point and can make an inquiry to a consulting marketplace to see if there are any suitable consulting experts available, and also in terms of payment or contractual obligations, they just deal with a single institution. The consulting freelance platforms, they recruit freelance consultants, and once they get a project inquiry, they then pre-select suitable candidates based on their experiences, based on their profiles, and suggest them to the clients. And also they pay out a fee to the freelance consultants. The freelance consultants then again provide their work and time to their clients. I think it is a win-win-win here. Besides getting a single touch point, the clients now also have an alternative to hiring consultant teams from the established MBB or other consulting firms, and instead can decide to work with freelance consultants. By doing so, they save a lot of money, because they don't anymore have to pay their expensive MBB brands or the partner salaries and so on. The consulting marketplaces of course take a commission for the matchmaking processes they facilitate, but they pass on the bulk of the payments they receive from the clients to you as a freelance consultant, enabling you to typically earn much more as a freelance consultant compared to working as an employed consultant. To be clear and explicit here, these freelance consultant daily rates that I showed you in my last video, you can realistically expect to achieve if you join a consulting marketplace with a strong background. So these figures you can expect to earn as a daily gross salary, and in these estimates, the commissions taken by the consulting freelance platforms are already deducted. Now you may wonder if the traditional consulting firms are the losers of this development because now they face a new type of low price competition. But there are rumors that even the top consulting firms occasionally hire freelance consultants from these consulting marketplaces. What? It's not even rumors anymore. Check out Commatch. It targets corporations and small and medium-sized enterprises, but also consultancies and private equity firms. It says, fill expertise gaps with top talent. My name is Jack. I'm a former McKinsey consultant and project manager and now serve as an independent management advisor. You are with Yuan Consulting, where I help you with your entry, rise and exit as a consultant. And if you like this video so far, please smash the like button and subscribe to the Yuan Consulting channel for more top quality business and career advice to come. Yeah! That's all fine and I subscribe to your channel no matter what, but where are the clients? These headhunters are hunting me. If I don't find clients, I have to take on another job. So where are my clients? I've got you covered, my friend. So much on the business model of consulting freelance platforms. Now I would like to share with you my review and comparison of 3 leading consulting marketplaces. In this second part of the video, I will first compare their facts and figures as well as their geographical reach. I will then explain to you what experience you need to bring to be able to join these platforms. I will then discuss the sign-up process, the personal onboarding process, and also say something about the quality and quantity of the project offers that I have received so far. Eventually, I will discuss the community and further benefits that these platforms offer to you as a freelance consultant. For this review, I've selected 3 consulting marketplaces: Consulting Heads, ConsultPort, and Commatch. And if you now ask me why these 3 consulting marketplaces, because they are ones that I've signed up to myself as a freelance consultant, maybe because they had the best marketing. Actually, there are many further consulting marketplaces out there, more on that later in this video. Also, if you think you have seen these 3 colors, blue, green and red in the consulting context before, well, that's just out of pure coincidence. Let's talk about facts and figures. Among these 3 marketplaces, Commatch is the oldest one. It was founded in 2014 by 2 former McKinsey consultants and has around 130 employees. It presents itself as the leading online marketplace for independent consultants in Europe and claims to have supported almost 4,000 projects in 30+ countries worldwide. In 2019, Commatch cracked the threshold of 10,000 freelance consultants in its database. Now, if you want some math, you can conclude that Commatch has supported on average around 500 projects per year. And of course, at the beginning, it will have been fewer projects than now. But if we assume it was 1,000 projects last year, for now more than 13,000 consultants, there's potential for some competition. ConsultPort was founded in 2017 by a former BCG consultant. It has around 20 employees and it presents itself as a harbor where organizations can take on board top-tier, highly experienced consultants and digital experts. They say that they have supported projects in 53 countries and have more than 3,500 consultants and digital experts in their database. Consulting Heads was founded in 2016 by, amongst others, a former Bain consultant, which should explain the specific color code on this slide. It also has around 20 employees and it offers both freelance consulting projects as well as full-time jobs. It says that it has 6,000 freelance consultants listed in its database, thereof 80% coming with a top consulting firm background. If we compare these facts and figures, judged by the number of consultants listed in the databases, Commatch seems to be the largest consulting marketplace. What I find surprising is that while all 3 players operate in the same industry, Comatch employs more than 6 times as many employees than Consultport and Consulting Heads. Talking about their geographical reach, curiously all the 3 platforms have their headquarters located in Germany. Consequently, their footprints are strongest in Western Europe. So I know that Comatch has a strong footprint in the German-speaking countries, but also some sizable international business. They have also entered the US market and now around 600 freelance consultants listed there. So if you are based out of the US, you may want to check out Comatch. Comatch is also present in the UAE and Turkey. Consultport also has its strongest footprint in Europe. I think also they are maybe the strongest in France, and they are also present in the UAE. And Consulting Heads has a strong focus on the German-speaking countries with some international business aside. Now let us talk about a topic that will be of specific interest to those of you who consider joining a consulting freelance platform. What experience do you have to bring to be admitted? Consultport requires you to have at least 2 years of experience in top management consulting or more than 5 years of experience in a leading digital company or with digital transformation experience. Or you can also bring at least 10 years of specific industry experience. Comatch matches these requirements and actually adds that it also accepts startup founders with more than 2 years of experience or people with more than 4 years of experience in the startup world. Consulting Heads is less specific about its admission requirements. It says, we only admit candidates with previous consulting experience. What are the key takeaways for you? First, management consulting experience is valued the most, which I think makes sense insofar that these are consulting freelance platforms. Second, it is interesting that with just 2 years of management consulting work experience, you can already join with freelance consulting platforms with the prospect of potentially doubling your income. Now, still though, I would recommend to you to gather a bit more consulting experience, because the more senior you are, the easier for you it is to get on projects, and you can also charge higher daily fees. Third, if you feel you can bring something valuable to the table but don't match these requirements, I would encourage you to sign up anyway, because these consulting marketplaces want to grow their consultant databases, and the worst thing that can happen is that they reject you. We have talked about the first 3 items of comparison. Now let me tell you about the sign-up process and the personal onboarding process. Signing up is easy at all the platforms. You just need to open up an account. Just entering your personal details can be more tedious. I actually preferred the solution of Consulting Heads, where you can just upload your CV, your job references, maybe your project references, and then your documents get processed automatically. In Comatch, you can link your profile to your LinkedIn profile, but I decided to take the longer route and entered all my personal details myself because I wanted my CV to shine in the way I wanted to. In Consultport, such a shortcut is not available. All 3 platforms will ask you about your expertise, your preferences, and you will also need to tell them your target daily rate, as well as if you are willing to travel to your clients. With regards to the personal onboarding process, there however are some material differences. From Comatch, I received an invitation to schedule a personal onboarding call the same day I had signed up to a platform, and that call took then place, I think, 2 weeks later. And when I was admitted to Comatch, the same day the interview took place. So all in all, the process took around 2 weeks. In Consultport, it took 2 weeks after I had signed up to a platform for me to get an invitation to schedule a personal onboarding call. I had then to wait for another month until a slot for such a call became available. And then it took another month after the interview had taken place for me to get formally admitted to Consultport. Even though I already received some project offers before that, which I found a bit confusing, I emailed the platform about it. Unfortunately, I haven't received a reply. Consulting Heads makes the onboarding process easiest. I got admitted to the platform 1 week after I had signed up to it. There was no personal onboarding call. I found it a bit surprising that there was no personal screening and also no opportunity to ask questions about the further process. Now let me tell you about the quality and quantity of project offers I have received so far, as well as about the community and further benefits that these platforms offer to you as a freelance consultant. With regards to the quality of project offers received so far, I actually was impressed by all 3 platforms. The project briefings I have received were all informative, the projects interesting and relevant to my expertise and background. They have been almost like a McKinsey projects and also financially attractive. With regards to the quantity of project offers, I had actually signed up to these three platforms the same day, but I already told you with ConsultPort the onboarding process took a bit longer. So I can tell you that in 4 months I have received 8 highly relevant project offers from CoMatch. In 2 months I have received 3 highly relevant project offers from ConsultPort and 1 offer from Consulting Heads in 4 months. And typically they send you both an email notification, but in all instances I've also received a personal phone call or an SMS message or so on to make an inquiry about my availability. The process works as follows. Once the consulting marketplace receives a request from a client for a freelance consultant, it will then screen its database and pre-select potential candidates based on their preference, their expertise and so on. And if you get selected, you will be notified and invited to apply for that project. So maybe you have to write a small pitch or something they like. And then a handful of these candidates that have applied for a project will be passed on to the client. And the client can then decide with which candidates it would like to conduct personal interviews. And then ultimately, hopefully, you are selected for the project. And yes, once again, it is a competitive process. That's the rule of the game. Just as a disclaimer, I have so far declined all project offers that I have received from these platforms because so far I've acquired all my consulting clients myself. But of course I know many colleagues who regularly work with these consulting freelance platforms and are happy about it. Now let us talk about the community and further benefits these platforms offer to you as a freelance consultant. Well, Consulting Heads has a blog which I think is only available in German and it features only a few articles. ConsultPort also has a blog with more articles, but I saw that most of them are written by copywriters. I mean, at least that's honest, but to be honest, it didn't really give me the feeling that there's much going on in terms of a community. CoMatch, on the other hand, has a totally different approach and it truly impresses me. CoMatch also runs a blog, but it encourages the members of its community to write a blog article and publish it on the CoMatch platform. But it's not just that. CoMatch has recently also established its so-called launch, in which it organizes virtual get-togethers for freelance consultants. Also, it offers now webinars and courses. And as you see here, it actually encourages its members again to apply to give a webinar or to give a course. And again, here you can see how CoMatch tries to leverage the swarm intelligence. And even better, and here I think it's where CoMatch truly rocks it, it has partnered up with a number of service providers that offer services that are highly relevant to every freelance consultant. For instance, you can get deals if you want to outsource your PowerPoint slide production, want to collaborate with an expert network, are in need of sourcing company information, or want to buy professional liability insurance. And the best is, I can even take advantage of these offers even though I have not yet conducted a project with CoMatch together. Now, I'm almost done with my review and comparison of these 3 consulting freelance platforms and we can move on to the award ceremony. At the beginning of this video I told you that I would announce the winner, but I think you have seen now that the industry is still rather young and dynamic, so I will rather announce a current frontrunner. Drum rolls please! No, that's the wrong ranking! Let's do it again! My current frontrunner is CoMatch. CoMatch convinced me because the onboarding process was smoothest and fastest. I have received the most project offers from CoMatch. I enjoyed my easygoing interactions that I had with CoMatch members of staff, and I think with their intention to build a fully fledged community for freelance consultants, CoMatch is truly killing it. I feel understand with the needs that I have as a freelance consultant. And I think here it shows that CoMatch employs more than 6 times as many employees than ConsultPort and Consulting Heads. I announced ConsultPort as the runner-up because the project offers I've received from ConsultPort have also been highly relevant. It's just that the onboarding process was a bit shaky and also took very long, and there isn't much beyond the matchmaking process. Consulting heads initially confused me, but when I recently was approached for a project, I had a phone call with an agent and he explained to me that Consulting Heads has recently been undergoing a restructuring process and that we are also going to restructure the onboarding process. So I think we may expect to see some changes and improvements in due time. There are a number of additional freelance consulting platforms out there that I have not tested. If you want to check them out for yourself, take a screenshot. Let us now find out how our former MBB and now freelance consultant is doing. As an MBB consultant, he was working very hard. And now as a freelance consultant, he is still working very hard. But between projects, he apparently is enjoying life at his own terms. Jack, can you please explain to me why this is already the fourth video that finishes in a beach setting?